So
just
off
like
we
that.
go. Yes.
No knocking, nothing.
No
Just
knocking,
came in
just
your
but
dressing
I
room.
said, I can put on my clothes, can't I? And he said, yes. And off we go to the police station. And the very funny thing was in London, we were at the Roundhouse, which is a little outside of
so New York,
West End,
London, LA.
There were, they have a canteen in the front of the theater, which most European theaters have. So we were, having rehearsals, and then we were in previews, and so we had a break, and we're sitting in the front having coffee and stuff, and I would see all these Indian couples with little children coming to buy tickets, and I finally said, isn't somebody going to tell them this is not about Calcutta, India? This is not what they think it is.
They were coming for a family show on their native country.
Yes, they were.
That's a
So
funny story.
I made sure that they were notified that it was not about Calcutta.
Wow. But just to get back one quick second to I guess what you call the executive producer is the person who puts the money, right?
Well, no, he's the one who raises the money. The producer would be the person who's in charge of hiring the director and he's the lighting designer and all. He's the one who assembles the crew.
Right. To be more actually, my question, Margo, is how do you? My question is, I mean, how can you raise money for a naked show? In the 60s, I mean, I know it's still the 60s.
Because people were curious and they thought it would be something new and revolutionary, and it was. It was one of the first shows. In fact, it was the first show that had film on stage. There was film that was coordinated with, especially the opening number. It had many effects, film effects in it that had never been done in a show before.
Never been done.
No.
And I saw in that history special that Jackie Onassis actually came, watched the show one day. I mean, she was wearing a big foulard and stuff like that, a scarf, but she kind of...
Everybody came. Everyone came.
It was such a
huge... came. Everybody came.
Everybody came.
Yes, everybody came.
So you're 21, naked on stage, the whole world comes to see you.
And on the cover of Time magazine.
And on the cover of Time magazine.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Coming from Texas a couple of years before. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Au Calcutta finishes at least for you.
So Au Calcutta, I did it for a year. We did a film. And then I moved on. Robert Joffrey called me and asked me to choreograph a ballet.
That's 71. That's the first time you choreographed a ballet.
Yes. And it was interesting because I thought that my life now, after I had left the Joffrey and I had gotten involved in Broadway, that I thought that's where my life would be. It was
you thought you would be a Broadway choreographer.
That I would not, I wouldn't go back to the ballet.
So and that's how you wanted it, or you thought?
No, I was letting things go where they would.
Right. The chips fall where they would.
Chips fall where they may. And so Bob Joffrey asked me to do a ballet. Then I did a ballet for the Harkness Company, and it started. And then I did go back to Broadway. I did Where's Charlie on Broadway, a Broadway revival at the roundabout. No, the Circle in the Square, and also Pal Joey at the Circle in the Square, nominated for a Tony Award.
Correct. You were nominated for a Tony Award in '75, huh?
Mm-hmm. And did Doonesbury, Gary Trudeau's Doonesbury. That was '84. And in the meantime, working with ballet companies, going to Europe and working with companies,
what would you say is the major differences you would see between working for Broadway and working for ballet companies or ballet dancers?
There are more rules on Broadway.
Yeah.
There are many more rules.
The meter is more expensive.
The meter is more expensive, yes, than it is in ballet.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely as serious in both places.
It must be very serious.
Very serious. Very, very serious.
Yeah. But Broadway dancers maybe are more.
On Broadway, you have more collaborators. Actually, when I do a ballet, I'm the director and the choreographer. I make all the decisions. There's a costume designer, a lighting designer, and maybe a set designer, but not often a set designer. So it's I'm the chief.
Yes.
In a Broadway show, you have this network of people collaborating, and I enjoy that. I love that.
The coffee person, the
you have all
water
those,
bottle person.
Yes, you have the director, his
shoulder
assistant,
massage,
me, my assistant.
The whole thing.
The whole thing
on Broadway. Yeah, must be very organized and also very ruled by union.
Yes, very ruled by union, and you don't normally. Well, for instance, the thing that's so wonderful though between working in America and working in Europe is in Europe you have a lot more time. When I went to the Ballet du Capitole in Toulouse, for instance, I did 3 trips before I went to choreograph. Meetings to see the company, to consort with the set designer, to talk to the director of the theater, Then I went to choreograph. Then I came home for a month. Then I went back. So it was 5 trips. You know, so it was a year-long thing, and it was wonderful because you have the opportunity to do something really wonderful. You know, and that's very, very produced, and it's terrific. Here, often with ballet companies, you have 3 weeks, and then you do the ballet, and then that's it.
And then that's it.
And that's because there's so many companies now, and they don't travel anymore.
Oh no,
nobody travels.
It's too expensive
because of the union. The union has bitten itself in the face because they don't allow the union is not very strong. The ballet union, the AGMA, is very, very weak. And but one thing that they do insist on is that you can't take, for instance, 12 dancers and go on a small tour if you have a company of 40.
You need to take everyone.
You have to either take everybody or you have to pay everybody.
Really?
So they don't go.
Yeah,
so,
it becomes prohibitive. Yeah.
So if I make a ballet that I've spent a year on, they do it 6 times. They do in one season, say, and then they don't do it again for maybe if it's very, very successful, they'll bring it back maybe 2 years down the road, or 4 years down the road, but you do all that work and there's 6 performances.
Well, what a waste! It's terrible waste.
And that's why it's one thing that I try to do is get other companies to do the ballets that I do. And I'm very lucky that way. People do ask me to come and either do something I've already done already, make a new ballet.
Yes.
The Shatner ballet ended up.
I want to hold it right there. I want to get there. But you got my curiosity running about that story. But let's not take the cat out of the box right now. We'll go back to that. But talking about, you were telling me about going to Toulouse, and then that ballet companies or dance companies travel less and less because it's expensive. There's a concept that we talk a lot about nowadays. It's globalization in everything, in economy and this and that.